Conversations from Backstage. Thank you for joining me on the set of our upcoming production, Church and State. Last week we talked about theater superstitions, and to this week I would like to talk some about theater etiquette, specifically theater etiquette backstage. I want to talk about this just in case any of you watching ever want to come join us as an actor. Or if you have joined us and maybe didn't learn these specific etiquette things, the reason that they're important is they make everything kind of go smoother because everybody knows what's expected of them. The biggest one is being on time. Rehearsals take a long time as it is, and if we don't have everybody here, you can't start them on time, and if you don't start them on time, you either have to add time at the end of the rehearsal, or you lose the amount of time that you wanted, and you don't have time to work on the things that you need to. So showing up on time, ready to go is very, very important when working on a play together. Because not only are you wasting your time, you're wasting the time of everybody else that's there. They may not get to start when they need to, they may not get out when they need to, all of those things. Most of the time, people say to be 15 minutes early to a rehearsal. I like that rule. It's good for me. I like to be in the space and kind of get used to it and be ready to go by the time we're ready to start. Other people, it's fine if you show up right on time as long as you're ready to go. You have to be ready to go. You can't get here and then want to take another 15 minutes before you even start again. Being ready to go leads us into our next etiquette. Always have your script and a pencil when showing up to rehearsals. The reason being is that in your first week or two of rehearsals, you'll be doing what are called blocking rehearsals, which is where you learn where you go and when you go there. It's not just about learning lines, it's about doing the same thing every time so that your partner knows what you're doing and you know what you're doing as you say those lines that you've memorized. When you do that in those blocking rehearsals, you find that out and you write it down next to the line so that you know when you're supposed to go there, or you write it down to the other person's line so you know when you're supposed to go there or when they're going to go somewhere, so you know what's happening. So it's very important to have a pencil and a script ready to go so that everything goes smoothly at that time. I'm here. Oh, wait. I forgot my script, and also I need to get something to eat. I'll be right back.
2 hours later.
All right, let's do this. Another reason I wanted to do this show is to show you some of the places that you wouldn't get to see unless you come and act for us. Usually you wouldn't get to see them. So this is one of our dressing rooms. Got some nice mirrors, makeup lights, counter to get ready with. One of the etiquette things is that when you come in for performances or dress rehearsals, you have a call time. You need to be on time for that call time. And then you need to come into your dressing room and start getting ready. Now, as you are getting ready, other people will be getting ready as well. A lot of actors don't. I'm not one of these. I don't mind talking to you. I don't mind talking back or whatever. But some of them don't like to talk before the performance. They're going over lines in their head. They usually have music in, the actors that don't like that. And they're trying to get in a headspace where they can perform. It's a good idea to not try and force them to interact with you. Let them do their thing. Let them figure out how they're going to do what they're going to do tonight. So just ask. Most of the time is the best thing. Is it okay if I talk to you about something or whatever? And it usually works out just fine. Another etiquette detail in the dressing room is that the stage manager will come around starting about 30 minutes before the show. Kind of depends on the stage manager, but 30 minutes is a good general rule. And they will give time calls. They'll give a 30-minute time call, 20-minute time call, 10-minute time call, 5-minute time call, and then places. This is so that you know what time it is without having to look, because usually you're really busy getting ready, putting on makeup, getting on your costume, everything else. The stage manager is going to make sure that you know how much time you have left while you're doing that, and don't have to worry about trying to figure out how much time you have left. 5 minutes till show. Oh, thank you, 5. Oh, another theater etiquette thing is that you should always respond to the time call with thank you, whatever the time call was. This allows the stage manager to know that you heard it and that you heard it correctly. Because if you say the wrong thing, they're going to correct you and let you know how much time you actually have left. So, another piece of backstage etiquette. Usually we'll have an area set up like this backstage for the actors to sit when they're not on stage. The reason being, first of all, you don't want actors just walking around backstage for our shows because the audience is so close, they can hear you walking around. That leads me into, you don't talk backstage unless you have to find out something or whatever, and then it's in as low a whisper as you can possibly do. The reason being, you don't want the audience to hear you in our shows, the backstage shows, because the audience is so close. Secondly, and almost more importantly, you don't want your fellow actors to hear you on stage because that's extremely distracting. Becomes hard to remember your lines at that point when you hear other conversations going on backstage. Also, another rule of backstage is that back here, there's almost always, for every show, I can't think of any show that wouldn't have one, there's a prop table. And on the prop table are things that either need to go on stage or have just come off stage that need a place to stay, that you have to have them every night. But I don't know for sure. This is set up for the show that we're doing. There's a clipboard, there's some flowers, there's some pretzels, handbag, things like that, that they have set up ready to go so that an actor can come grab what they need, or they can set it back there so they can get it again after they do that. So this comes to our last piece of theater etiquette, or backstage etiquette, is that you're not supposed to touch anybody else's props. I know I just did that, but I set them back down exactly where they were. The reason being is that you don't want to be responsible for someone not having a prop when they need it. If you take and move this clipboard and move it across stage, they won't know where it's at in a moment of trying to come and get it very quickly, because sometimes you only have a second to get off stage, get something, and then go right back on stage. They won't have what they need, then they have to improv, and then it's your fault. Secondly, in that vein, it is every actor's responsibility to check their props before the show. While you're getting ready and you're doing all those things, usually I do this the first thing that I come in, is I check the prop table and make sure that my props are on the prop table, and then I go and get in makeup and costume and everything else. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little glimpse into backstage etiquette and how things kind of go on while you're acting and rehearsing and doing all of these things. I hope you join us next week. We're going to have an interview with the principals of the cast of Church and State, which should be very interesting, and you can learn a little bit about the show that's coming up.